Good evening, friends. Professor Brahmsingh Horticulture Foundation, BSHF, a not-for-profit organization, and myself welcome you all to the talk number 20 of this series named as 4H Urban Horticulture for Health and Happiness. BSHF is thankful to Bayer Seminis to sponsor this webinar series. I am happy to welcome co-organizers Dr. Peetam Kalia, ICR Rafi Ahmed Kidwai Awardi, former head Division of Vegetable Science and coordinator School of Horticulture Sciences, ICAR, IARI, New Delhi. The webinar today is on river beds cultivation, river beds cucurbits farming for health and happiness in urban areas by Dr. Sudhakar Pandey, Principal Scientist, Division of Crop Improvement, ICR, Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, Varanasi. River beds are called Dhyara lands. River bed cultivation is a type of vegetable forcing, facilitating off-season or early production of cucurbitaceous vegetables. Cucurbitaceous vegetables are generally vine vegetable, VINE, comprising of mainly gourds that covers bottle gourd, ridge or sponge gourd, bitter gourd, and other gourds, pumpkin, squash, and melons such as watermelon, muskmelon, long melon, round melon, besides others such as parval, chocho, etc. Anyway, the BSHF is thankful to Dr. Sudhakar Pandey for honoring its request to speak on cucurbits in river beds in and around urban areas. His talk is in relation to urban horticulture for health and happiness, limited to cucurbits cultivation in riverbeds or Dhyara lands. Most of the important cities in India are located on the banks of particular river having vast flood areas used for cultivation of cucurbits during winter months. With the rapid urbanization, importance of urban horticulture can hardly be overemphasized. Out of the two aspects of urban horticulture, that is food horticulture and the environmental horticulture, Dr. Pandeyji will be speaking on cucurbitaceous vegetable production such as gourds and melons in vast Dhyara land nearer to important cities in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and other places. Dr. Pandey would enrich our knowledge on modern cucurbitaceous vegetables production methods in Dhyara land, an important aspect. Friends, if you have any question, you can raise it in comment and chat box, which will be answered after the talk. Now I request my colleague Dr. Preetam Kalia ji to formally introduce Dr. Sudhakar Pandey.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible? Sir?
You are audible.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers. Most respected and revered Professor Brahmsingh ji, founder and chairman of BSHF, and today's speaker, Dr. Sudhakar Pandey, who is well established, eminent cucurbit breeder, and we will be listening him on a riverbed cucurbit farming for health and happiness of the urban people. Dr. Pandey has had his master's and doctorate from Acharya Narendra Dev University of Agriculture and Technology, Ayodhya. He has so far contributed in research, has experience of 22 years in research and research management activities of ICAR Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, Varanasi. He started his job from IIVR itself as a scientist and rose to the position of principal scientist. Dr. Sudhakar Pandey has handled 15 in-house projects and 13 externally funded projects, and he has contributed 21 varieties of cucurbitaceous vegetables, especially, which is a big contribution that he has made in almost all the cucurbitaceous vegetables. Besides commercial varieties which has become commercial, especially in Uttar Pradesh and various other regions of the country, he has also contributed towards gene and marker identification and their validation, especially new genes for short hypocotyl, gene responsive for regulating hypocotyl elongation in cucumber, and new markers, especially developed and validated SSR markers for mapping QTLs responsible for powdery mildew resistance in cucumber and parthenocarpic fruit set in processing cucumber. Dr. Pandey has also contributed genetic stocks of new germplasm which he has registered with the National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, which are three in number. One is downy mildew resistance uh, genetic stock in snap melon and high beta carotene containing cucumber and also high carotenoid content containing pumpkin genotype. His contribution has been highly appreciated through various awards and recognition that he has earned due to his diligence, especially that he has had ICR award for team research for the biennium of in 2006, and he has earned fellowship of the most important academy of the country, that is National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. He has also been elected as member of Nasi, Allahabad, Prayagraj. Besides, he has become fellow of Uttar Pradesh Academy of Agriculture Sciences, Indian Society of Vegetable Science, Indian Society of Horticulture Research and Development, and he has earned also recognition apart from PPVFR in New Delhi. He has also been awarded with the Dr. Kirti Singh Gold Medal by the Indian Academy of Horticulture Sciences, as well as Dr. Kirti Singh Lifetime Achievement Award by Indian Society of Vegetable Science, Varanasi. Dr. Pandey has distinguished Agricultural Scientist Award of Uttar Pradesh Academy of Agriculture Sciences in Lucknow and Himadri Young Scientist Award of Indian Society of Horticulture Research and Development, Uttarakhand. Scientist of the Year Award also he has earned from Society of Biological Science and Rural Development, Allahabad. Best Research Paper Poster Award he has been awarded. He is convener of NAS Regional Chapter Varanasi. He is member of two task force of PPVFRA, adjunct faculty to Uttara Banga Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, Cooch Behar, West Bengal. He is member of Board of Studies of Pandit Deen Dayal College of Horticulture and Forestry and treasurer of National Academy of Agriculture Science Regional Chapter that he was, and he is also associate editor of Progressive Horticulture. Dr. Pandey has contributed 412 publications, in which he has had 20 research papers in more than 7 NAS rating, with H index of 17 and total citations 1065. Dr. Pandey also has been involved in DUS testing guidelines of PPBFRA, and especially in cucurbitaceous vegetables of pumpkin, cucumber, bottle gourd, bitter gourd, muskmelon, watermelon, and pointed gourd, and which are being used by PPFRA for registration of varieties in these crops. And he has also been guiding students, and he has guided 4 doctoral students and 9 master students. He has visited various countries uh, in his career so far with respect to his academic programs, and he has also been involved in management and administrative activities. He has been nodal or coordinator or member secretary or member or the chairman of various committees in the system, especially in ICR. Uh, that means he has had managerial acumen as well. Uh, from extension point of view, has been involved in various activities, and we have been seeing him in riverbed cultivation also, that he has been quite active, and that's why the talk he has chosen from that point of view, which is going to be futuristic talk, as the government of India has now focused on natural farming system. So I think the riverbed cultivation is also going to be a big program in the days to come, and the package of practices and the varieties identified for such areas by Dr. Pandey will be useful in that sense. And he has a membership of various professional societies, especially 7 professional society he is member of. So we find that Dr. Pandey is quite active in various aspects of the activities that he is supposed to be involved, and accordingly he has been awarded, and we will be interested, especially the viewers would be looking forward, researchers, farmers, to the talk, which is going to be very important talk. So not taking much time, standing between the viewers and the speaker, I would invite Dr. Pandey to take the floor and start his presentation. You are welcome, Pandey.
Thank you, sir, for your this overwhelming introduction. Respected Chairman of the BSHF, Professor Brahm Singh sir, Dr. Pritam Kalia sir, and other all viewers, scientists, students, farmers who are joined this talk. Uh, this is actually we are basically as in introduction all you have mentioned that my interest is breeding, but because I am working in the cucurbits crop, and cucurbits crop area is very much in the these for riverbed cultivation. So this is my special interest. We try to work in the riverbed conditions, and we have generated little bit technology. At least we got several experience for the farmers. So based on that, this talk has been prepared, and I will try to justify my talk with the within 1 hour. So in India, if we see the history of river cultivation is not in record, but the archaeological studies have indicated that the riverbed cultivation is being practiced in India since ancient times, possibly started during Mughal period, with different cucurbits crops in the basin of riverbed after water level receded. So if we see, in India is the second largest producer in vegetable crops, with the production of near about 193 tons, and with the area of 10.71 million hectare, and the total these availability of the vegetables per capita is near about 293 grams per day, which is nearby, we can say it is 300 gram per day. And generally it is recommended by the Indian Council of Medical Research. And if we see, the enhancement in the area is near about 3.6 fold since the independence, and productivity is near about 3.1 fold, and production is 11.2 fold, and per capita availability is near about 3.3 fold. So we have taken the lead, particularly in vegetable production uh, in our country. If we see the share of cucurbits in total vegetable production, particularly in Indian context, the cucurbits share about 5% of total vegetable production from the area of 0.6 million hectare with the productivity of 10.61 tons per hectare. Among these, according to a survey, particularly for riverbed, uh, near about 40% of total cucurbits area falls under riverbed. And during early summer season, around 55 to 60% of total cucurbits that is coming to market, that is produced from the riverbed itself. If we see the scenario of our share in the production, particularly for cucurbits, here we can see near about 83% total production of the cucurbits is concentrated only in Asian countries, and only 3% is for African countries, and 2% from South and Central America, and 12% from rest of the countries. So cucurbits is a very big group, but it is very much concentrated in Asian countries, and from Asian countries, the contribution of India is a tremendous. So in cucurbitaceous crops, we have near about 950 species, and that's contribute near about 90 genera. We are cultivating in India near about 60 type of cucurbitaceous crops, and out of that, 20 types of cucurbitaceous crop is very commercial in one or another place in India. Among these, major chunk, particularly in northern plains, that has been covered by the riverbed cultivations. So, what are the riverbed? What is the riverbed for which we are calling the riverbed? Riverbed is commonly known as a Diara land in a basin of area between the two or more stream of a river. And locally, it is known by several names like Khaddar. In some places, it is Kachar. Some places, it is known as Duaba, Daryari, Kasar, Nad, Tali, Nadiari. So these are the some local name. It depend upon the place to place. The term Diara has been derived from the word Dia, meaning earthen land. When any river, if you see, it is full of the water, and when water is going to recede, it is just like we can see, it is, looks like a Dia. Based on the Diara land distance from the main stream, that has been classified in three different way. One is the lower Diara land, second one is the middle Diara land, and third one is the upper Diara land. So here we can see that this is we are calling by figures. You can see that this is a lower Diara land, and this one is a middle Diara land, and this is upper Diara land. So what is the lower Diara land? That is located in the main river that's available for cultivation during non-monsoon seasons from October to May. Similarly, the middle Diara land also, this is available in the month of monsoon itself for cultivation, but it is located on the bank of the river. The bits of such land varies considerably as the area are frequently inundated during rainy seasons by swelling floodwaters. Depth of flooding, however, varies considerably at different locations depend upon the monsoon. In some years, we can get more water in this area. In some seasons, we can get less water in this area. And based on the water availability, the water, if it is early received, we can start our cultivation very early. If water is much flooded, then little bit late cultivation can be started in this area. And upper Diara land, it is due to deposition of the continuous deposition of the soils, particularly these sand soils. Such area have been elevated and are relatively less frequently flooded than the middle Diara lands. In most of the times here, water is not coming. If flood is very high, then this type of upper Diara land that has been flooded. So in these Diara land, generally we are cultivating the mustard, even direct wheat we can take from here, even tomato. Lot of crops we can grow, but irrigation facilities should be ensured in upper Diara land. In middle Diara land, there is no irrigation facility. If there is no irrigation facility, cucurbits can be grown. In lower Diara land, generally muskmelon and watermelon is the most preferred crop by the farmers. So there are some interesting facts about the riverbed cultivations. Actually, when we started our work, we have visited near about 100 farmers. With the help of a questionnaire, we make a survey. On that basis, we have some facts about the Diara land, and this is two upper points that has been this time we have tested these soils in the Diara land, and we can see that carbon content of the riverbed soil that has been recorded up to 0.9% in the riverbed cultivation, particularly middle Diara land conditions, and the availability of the phosphorus is adequate. There is no need to supply that to give the give the phosphorus to the plants. Why? Because but we have to how phosphorus will be available to the plant, that is a question. So if we have the phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, other things we can use, then that will be the very useful for that particular area. And no irrigation is required for direct shown cucurbits, particularly in middle Diara. But in lower Diara, there is some problem we will discuss in our further slides. And 90% landless farmers are involved in this cultivation in Diara land. So we earlier when we were not working in Diara land, I was supposed that these river is we have to take the permission from the government. But when we visited the Diara land, we find that पूरी नदी को लोगों ने बांट रखा है. दिस इज माई एरिया, दिस इज माई एरिया, दिस इज माई एरिया, and these landless farmers, they are taking the lands on the lease, and that lease depend upon the quality of the land. So based on that, near about 95% farmers which are working on the riverbed cultivation, they are landless. They don't have their part of land in the riverbed areas. And technologies are being used by the farmers are mostly based on their indigenous knowledge. Cucurbits are especially adopted to these systems of growing due to their long taproot systems, well adopted natural farming, easy to convert whole Diara land in organic farming and natural farming. And as in this budget, we have seen that government has taken the initiative to convert the maximum area of our country in organic farming and natural farming. And the first step that has been taken into consideration is 5 kilometers both sides organic or natural farming corridor from the Ganga Basin. Ganga Basin. So these are the new initiative that has been taken by our government of India in this budget, and huge amount has been put for the research as well as for promotion of the natural farming in the, these Ganga basins. And produce of riverbed fetch better price due to off-season production. In the introduction itself, Dr. Bhan Singh sir highlighted that this is a type of vegetable forcing which are producing off-season vegetables. So we are getting the produce in the month of February, last week of the February itself, and these that time price is near about 30 rupees per kg, 40 rupees. Even this years we have got the sponge gourd price near about 60 rupees per kg. So therefore it is very much remunerating for that. So there are the major river in India which have Diara land. So these sides we can see the states, and these sides we can see the rivers which have Diara land. In Uttar Pradesh, Yamuna, Hindon, Saryu, Ganga, Ghagra, Sharda, Ram Ganga, Gomti. These are the river which have riverbed and which have Diara land. In Bihar, Ganga, Gandak, Son, Koshi, Burahi, Gandak. Madhya Pradesh, we have Narmada, Tapti, Tawa, Mohana. In Rajasthan, Markeda, Ghat, Banash. Gujarat, Sabarmati, Bhadrak, Panam, Orsang, Mohi, Banash, Tapti. Maharashtra, Tapti, Burahi, Purna, Bhagur, Girna, Vikhund, Nirguna, Kanchan. Andhra Pradesh, Tungabhadra, Krishna, Pennar, Papagni, Mundri, Shagileru, Karnataka, Chanapatha, Hanga, Noor, Shimasa, and Kerala Pamba. In particularly in Maharashtra and South India, we can say कि most of the rivers they don't have much Diara land because they don't have such type of soil what we have in Ganga basin, Yamuna basin or Ghagra basin. That type of soil is not there. Mostly they have the stones in the basins. So cultivation is a little bit far than the basin in that area. But in our particularly Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, we have the better Diara land as compared to other states. So major urban areas that is benefited by riverbed. Here we have only listed a few cities like Agra and New Delhi that is situated in Amna rivers, Prayagraj it is on Yamuna and Ganga, Varanasi on Ganga, Lucknow, Gomti, then Ahmedabad on Sabarmati river, Jabalpur they have Narmada riverbed, Patna they have Ganga riverbed, Awadhya, Saryu, Ghagra. It is a very well and very much suitable for the riverbed cultivation, particularly all Ghagra riverbed belt is one of the best suited lands for cultivation of the riverbed. Surat, it is on Tapti river, Hyderabad on Mushi, Vadodara on Vishwamitri, Mathura on Yamuna, Kanpur on Ganga, even Balia is also on Ganga. And here we can see there is a lot of river flow in our whole country. We can see in the figures. It is not very clear. What are the benefit from the riverbeds? Why farmers are growing the riverbed and they are interested for doing the riverbed cultivations? Some most important things is they are getting the higher net return per unit area. Early crop with better quality, fresh and nutritious vegetables obtained in off season, lower cost of cultivation as compared to normal field cultivations, better utilization of such cultivable land. This is the land which is generally unused, and farmers are getting on a very less price for lease. Therefore, they are interested to do the cultivation, and it is correlated with the higher net return. Therefore, in the even in the these very high heat and very high sun, they are working on these river cultivations, riverbed farming. Minimum use of manures and fertilizers. Cultivation without irrigation. That is one of the things we can save a lot of water by cultivating, by promoting the riverbed farming. Comparably less affected by insect and pest and diseases as compared to normal growing conditions. Income and livelihood security of landless and marginal farmers who's nearby to these rivers, and local adaptation to climate change. These years we have seen that particularly in normal growing conditions, cucurbits, we have observed that the heat is in the month of March itself, temperature has been rise up to 35. In April first week we have observed that temperature was near about 40 to 40 degrees Celsius. And most of the crop that has been highly affected by the sucking pest, and there was no control, particularly these sucking pests in the normal growing conditions, and most of the crops that has been damaged in the normal growing condition. But the crop which was under riverbed conditions, still they are having the some produce, and we are getting the little bit produce at present from the riverbed cultivations. So these are the major crop. In cucurbits, we have many crops. We have near about 30 commercial crops which we are growing in India. But most commonly grown cucurbits in riverbed farming system is 9 crops. Although we have experimented on cucumber also, but in the our first year trials, we have concluded that the production of cucumber under riverbed farming is yield and the net profit which we are getting from the cucumber that was very less. Therefore, we have excluded the cucumber from riverbed, and we are not recommending the cucumber for cultivation under riverbed conditions. So these are the crop: pumpkin, bottle gourd, muskmelon, bitter gourd, pointed gourd, watermelon, sponge gourd, long melon, and risga. These are the important cucurbitaceous vegetables which can be grown under riverbed farming systems. Other crop like mustard, tomato, that also can be grown in the upper Diara land, that is entirely depend upon the soil condition and water availability. In the upper Diara land, we have to we ensure the irrigation. Then we can grow the mustard, even tomato, and some farmers they are direct seeding of these wheats. Also, we have seen that they are growing in the upper Diara land. So these are the preference based on our questionnaires. This is the data from 100 farmers, and based on their profitability. And earlier, the farmers prefer only watermelon and muskmelon in the land. But now, with the introduction of good varieties as well as the marketability, market approach, the farmers are now preferring pumpkin number one crop, that has been followed by sponge gourd, bottle gourd, pointed gourd, bitter gourd, then watermelon, muskmelon, long melon, and rich gourd. Even most of the farmers they are not interested in rich gourd, but some farmers, particularly in the Balia region and in Prayagraj region, and the data we have collected, that is from Kanpur itself, from Balia. Some farmers we have chosen 10 to 20 farmers from Kanpur, then Prayagraj, Varanasi, then Balia. Based on their experience and based on their answer, we have make this, and we are seeing even by doing the experiments, pumpkin and sponge gourd they having the most profitable crop in the river conditions. So, if we are going for the cucurbits, if we are growing, so people should know how it is important for the health and happiness. Because cucurbitaceous crop, if we see in the market, I think 50% the market that has been covered. If we see the item wise, mostly cucurbits is available at present around the years, and we can get one and other cucurbits for our consumptions. So cucurbits now becoming the one of the major vegetable crops for the consumer point of view. So here among the cucurbits, pumpkin have highest level of vitamin C, and that is varies from 340 to 7,800 international unit per 100 gram edible portions. So in the FAO, this is a pumpkin is called as a superfood. They have considered it as a superfood only due to this highest level of vitamin A, which is that is a precursor of these carotenoids, and it has been included as a superfood. Why superfood they have included? Because that storability of these crops, particularly these pumpkin, is more than 4 months, 5 months. They can have in the normal room temperatures. And the cucurbits are very low calorie vegetables and contains no saturated fat or cholesterol, recommended by dietitians in cholesterol controlling and weight reduction programs. Excellent source of many natural polyphenolics, flavonoids compounds such as the alpha and beta carotenoids, cytoxanthin, lutein, and zeaxanthin. Also a rich source of mineral like copper, calcium, potassium, and phosphorus. Seed are an excellent, particularly pumpkin seed are an excellent source of iron, zinc, and health promoting amino acid tryptophan. Even a single seeds of these pumpkins, roasted pumpkins, generally it is not a cucurbita moschata. Generally these seeds it is belong to the cucurbita people. But it is so important. One seed cost is near about 10 rupees, and it is sold in the different we can say in the supermarkets and big malls. So we all know that in the due to health consciousness, the bitter gourd juice and bottle gourd juice in the morning walk, in the we have seen in the several these these lawns and other places where these people are doing morning walk. This is also a type of livelihood. The people are having their shops with these bottle gourd juice and bitter gourd juice, and this is a blood controlling sugar ability and insulin level that can be controlled by the bitter gourd. And in bottle gourd, that is a cardiotonic. Baba Ramdev is always these advocating that we have to take the bottle gourd juice, and it is also have the aphrodisiac agents. Aphrodisiac agents is means it has a capacity to increase the sexual desire of that person. So this type of quality also they have with the bottle gourd. And cucurbits so many biological properties such as antioxidant, Now we have seen in this pandemic, particularly COVID-19 pandemic, immunity is a major concern for the person. So these all cucurbits, they have antioxidant property, antimicrobial property, anti-inflammatory, and anti-cancer activities also. So as a health point of view, cucurbitaceous crop are most important uh, vegetables for consumer point of view and health point of view. If health is okay, then always persons have the happiness. If we see the nutrition value of these cucurbits crops, so for vitamin A, pumpkin has the highest vitamin A content among the cucurbits. Bottle gourd has the highest calcium content. Similarly, the pointed gourd has the highest protein as well as copper content and iron content. Similarly, nicotinic acid also highest in the case of pointed gourd. Here we can see the bitter gourd we can see as a good for mineral, protein, as well as vitamins. It has highest magnesium, highest phosphorus, highest sodium, highest potassium, highest thiamine, highest riboflavin, and nicotinic acid also. That is at par with the pumpkin as well as the pointed gourd. So, and vitamin C also is the highest in case of these bitter gourd. So, overall, cucurbits is a very good source of these minerals as well as vitamins, which is very important for the health of the humans. So, based on our experiments, we have taken into consideration lot of varietal evaluation during the experimentation. And if we see the farmers' point of view, they are generally using the land races or traditional varieties. And first time we conducted the trial for identifying the varieties hybrids for riverbed cultivation at two locations. One location was at Varanasi and second location was at Prayagraj. That was on Yamuna River, and at Varanasi we did our experiment at Ganga River. And based on the availability of the seed of release varieties and hybrids from public and private sectors, that has been evaluated. Here we have given only example as a bottle gourd. One thing I would like to emphasize here, when we try to take some seeds from the private seed companies, particularly in these, even we try to purchase the seeds of these private sectors, hybrids and others during the October and November month. It was very difficult to get the seeds of these cucurbits in October and November. Uh, Even watermelon, muskmelon, bottle gourd, bitter gourd, all traders they have replied that this is not a season of cucurbit cultivations. Therefore, we are unable to give you seeds of these cucurbits. Even if I want to purchase, they are unable to give the seeds for that because that seed was not available. So, with this forum, I would like to advise these seed companies that they have to be ready their seeds, particularly in month of October and November, for the farmers of riverbed. This is the reason. If as a scientist we are not getting the seeds, proper seeds from the particularly habits from the private sector or public sectors, therefore the farmers are they are using their own seeds, particularly for riverbed cultivations. So here example is bottle gourd. We have collected near about seven open pollinated varieties and similarly seven hybrids from that's include from the public sector and hybrids, and we have evaluated in different inputs and different conditions in the riverbed, and based on that we have did the experiment for all 9 10 crops, and based on that these are the some varieties which have been found very promising at all two locations. In case of pumpkin, Pusha Viswas and Kashi Harit, that was two variety which was very good. In bottle gourd, Pusha Nabeen, Azad Harit, Kashi Ganga. In bitter gourd, Kalyanpur Baramashi, Arka Harit. In spawn gourd, Pusha Sneha, Kashi Sreya. Watermelon, Sugar Baby, still it is working in the riverbed very well. Arka Manik. Then farmers plant Kashi Madhu and Pusha Madhurash. For Super Chandaprabha, that is one local variety that has been marketed by uh, some farmers, and that perform well. And Arka Sheetal, similarly in Riz Guard, Kashi Shivani and Ajas Sneha, in Pointed Guard, Kasi Alankara and Kasi Super was well promising varieties. And similarly, hybrids that belong from private sector as well as from public sectors, they have been listed here, and that can be taken into consideration for cultivation in different cucurbitaceous vegetables. So, what are the systems of cultivation in case of riverbed? So these are the some tedious parts, particularly when we are going for the cultivating under these riverbed farmings. So there are two systems of cultivation which farmers are doing. They are doing from ancient times. Why we are presenting here? How difficult it is and how we can intervene in this, what technology they have, how we can improve that their technology, and what intervention is possible in that. So therefore, first to know how they are doing, then we can intervene on that improvement of that technology. So first one is a pit system and second is trench system. These two systems they have. And time of pit preparation is starting from October onwards, and it is going to up to November, when level of water flow in the river goes down. This is the instrument which farmers are using, and this instrument is, is called, we can call it Maja of that area. And here we can see this is costing near about 300 to 400 rupees. And we can see here how they are digging the pits by using these particular. This is not Maja, this is Jham. Sorry, this is called as a locally called as a Jham. So with the use of this Jham, they are preparing the pits. And generally, when we read the several chapters and we read the several articles on the riverbed, generally we will see that depth of riverbed, particularly fat pit, should be this much. But it is not true. It is not true. Why it is not true? Because in case of these middle Diara land, the depth of riverbed depend upon the availability of the loamy soil. Here we can see in this is the loamy soil, and it can be depth may be 2 feet, it may be 3 feet, it may be 4 feet. Even in same riverbed, even same Diara land, from 50 feet, 50 meters, then again other 50 meters, we are we are getting the depth of pits is different. Some in some places it is 2 feet, some places it is 3 feet, some places it is 4 feet. So the farmers they are seeing these loamy soils, and when they are getting the loamy soils in the last, they then they are stopped their digging, and just after digging they are filling in the same day, in the same process. One person is digging, and one person is behind to that digger. They are immediately filling the pits. Why they are filling the pits? Because after digging, suppose if there is a high wind velocity, then by the sand this dig will be 100% full by the sand, and there it is very difficult to identify where we have dug these pits. So therefore demarcation is very important. Here we can see they are using the sticks and we are using the pecks. There are different, and for filling up these pits, we are using generally these neem cakes, FIM, these urea, MOP. Immediately we have to be filled uh, these pits, and we have to demarc. Just after demarcation we can left this for sowing in further 1 or 2 days, 3 days. That has no issue. Totally, if we are manually doing this process, 30 to 40 pits single persons can be prepared in a day. How tedious job it is, we can see. So for this nutritional requirement, what should be nutritional requirement for these cultivations? We have conducted a trial and we have made a 4 treatments. One treatment that was the without mixtures, and one treatment was FIM 1 kg, 25 kg, 25 gram urea and 50 gram MOP. Then third treatment was only we have used the soluble fertilizers. That was 18, 18, 19, 19. It may be at the rate of 3 to 5 gram per liter, and it had been sprayed fourth spray after 15 days, 50 days, 65 days, and 75 days after sowing. And C4 treatment we have comprised both C2 and C3, and we can see this is the exemplary. We have taken only yield data of all the crops: bottle gourd, bitter gourd, muskmelon, ridge gourd, long melon, swan gourd, watermelon, cucumber, and pumpkin. Here we can see that the C and C4 treatment, which comprising the C2 and C3, means FIM 1 kg, 25 gram urea, and 50 gram MOP. We are not applying, we have not taken the treatment of these phosphorus, because that particular soil is rich in phosphorus. Therefore, we have not put the phosphorus in our treatment, and use the spray of soluble fertilizer, that is 4 times. Then we have seen that maximum yield has been recorded in these uh, combinations, and it is significantly different, significantly higher as compared to these other treatment. Therefore, we have recommended that farmers should use these C4 combinations for their cultivations. So, because these digging up pits, that was very tedious, and maximum labor expense was going on these labor for that. Even farmers which are growing, which are cultivating, they are also hiring the labors for dig picking. So we have intervened on this, and we have fabricated one shingle wheel trolley type earth hugger, and it is costing near about 1500 cost of these, and this is operated by petrol. This is not diesel operated, this is a petrol operated, and from one day by one labor near about 300 pits can be dig by these machines, and one labor is taking near about 500, and then 100 rupees near about these oil consumptions. So total 300 pits we can have in 600 rupees, and if we have the cost, that is costing only 2 rupees per pits, and compare with these manual pit preparation, it is about 10 to 12 rupees per pit, and it is very tedious. Even a single day we can, if we have two machines, we can have the lot of pits preparation even a single day. So that intervention has been done by our institutes, IAVR, with the help of the farmer itself, with the help of our mechanics, tractor mechanics, and other. They have fabricated this instrument, and this is working well. Here we can see that, and here also we need the jam in the last. We see the loamy soils, and because in the agar it is very difficult to have these where is loamy soil is there. So we are generally using the jam in the last, and immediately we are filling the pits, and we are putting our all nutrients and other things in there. And other method is trench method, where we are applying trench method. Trench method generally we are applying, it is very near to water stream, and this is the most suitable method for the watermelon and muskmelon generally. But nowadays the farmers are not interested to go for trench systems. What is the reason? Because there is some unexpected change in water stream, and here the water level, if it is goes down, the root development of root is very slow nearby these particularly water streams. So the plant is taking moisture from riverbed water itself. The root don't have so much penetration in these areas, because there is no loamy soil. This is 100% sand soil. If we dig 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet, we will not get any loamy soil in this. And the infiltration of water, the filtration of these water is coming from the loamy soils. In the middle DRL line we have that loamy soils, and this is that this has the attached with the riverbed, and it is providing the moisture to the plants. So after germination, the trench are filled with the FIM. Here, after germination, they have the very small pits preparation, and after germination, here they are having the pits preparation, and after that we have to fill this pit with the help with the FIM and other fertilizers. Then these plants are getting the nutrients. Otherwise, it is very difficult to survive these plants. Here we can see these are the mixture of fertilizers and FIM. We have to fill these with sand, FIM, and mixtures. So this is the now becoming very tedious job, and farmers are not interested. And most of the area now it is lying without cultivations, only due to the change in unexpected water stream in the rivers. कभी कभी जैसे 10 फीट 12 फीट फार्मर्स कहते कह रहे हैं, 20 फीट 25 फीट नदियां अपना स्थान छोड़ दे रही हैं सर। इसीलिए ये जो है ये मेथड नाउ दे आर नॉट यूजिंग, दे आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड टू यूज दिस। And most important thing when we are go for showing, uh, here in riverbed we have to be use the sprouted seed. If we are not use the sprouted seed, then germination is very difficult, because in the upper layer moisture is very less. If we have the germinated seed, we have the sprouted seed, then germination is 100%, 10% germination we can get. So what farmers are using, they are using the castor leaves, and they are putting the seed in the castor leaves, and accordingly they are rolling it, and after rolling they are keeping in the normal temperature, or if they have some temperature like these paddy straw, or they have the wheat straw, then they are putting these seeds in that straw itself, or if they have any particular warm places in their home, they are putting these things and they are getting the germination, but it is taking 4 to 5 days. So what we have did, we have taken the germination paper, and this is in the farmer's field itself. We have taken a bucket, and this has the very less water here, and one side of this germination paper is in the bucket in the water, and we have put the seeds in this side. So these water is having the giving the moisture all the time, and we are keeping in the warm places in this side farmer's house itself, and we can get the these we can see here the sprouting is very good in these, and these sprouted seeds immediately we have to be the next day we have to be in the we can sown it, and then we can get the 100% germination without any moistures. And after germination, if we are having the direct sowing of these crops, so there is no need of irrigation in direct sown crops. So we have there is one a very old method which farmers are already doing, and we have intervened in this, particularly how we can give the sprouting better and easiest way to the farmers. Generally farmers are using 5 to 6 seeds, but we have advised farmers to two seeds, use the two seeds. And one more intervention we have did, we have started the nursery raising, particularly for transplanting in riverbed condition. Why we think it? Because the farmers, they are migrating in the riverbed area. In some landless farmers, they are migrating with their family, they have their cottage there, and they are coming there, and then when from starting itself up to harvesting, they are not coming back to their home, because due to these wild animals and others, they have to be have protection there. So how we can check the migration at least 1 month delayed, how we can delay 1 month migration of the farmers? So we think that if we have the nursery raising, and if it is successful, then it is at least we can delay the migration of the farmers in the riverbed farming for at least 1 month, and this can minimize the seed cost due to less seed requirement, and it can ensure the plant population. Transplanting done during the first week of December. We have to do this exercise in the November itself, and transplanting can be done in the December. Otherwise, in the month of last December and January, frost problem may be there, so it may sometimes damage may be there, and there is no significant differences observed in the yield of transplanted and direct seed sown crops. And here we can see in these tables the performance of different cucurbits under three different methods of plant establishment in riverbed. This is the 5 to 6 seeds, 2 seeds, and transplanting. Here we can see, particularly in muskmelon, pumpkin, then long melon, there was no significant differences in the yield. Here also, if we see, the maximum number of these yield can be obtained in the 2 seeds per pits, as well as in the transplanting also. There is no much difference in the yield. So we can go for transplanting particularly, and we can advise there is no loss of the yield in the farmers. We have to make the confidence among the farmers. But there is one issue. When we are going for transplanting, first 2 to 3 times at least in 5 days we have to be irrigate the plants for first time establishment. After 4 5 days after establishment of the plants, they are taking the water from the river itself, and no need to irrigate. So what we are thinking in the next time, we have to a portable drip system. If we can lift the water from the river, So for this we have a plan, and we got some money from also from the some funding agency to stabilize some solar tree in the nearby riverbed area, and that solar tree can be utilized for the generation of electric. And by using the solar tree, that can be one horsepower motor can be operated in that area. Particularly, we can keep it boat in there, and we can protect the motor there. And by using that motor, we can lift the water. And by using the gravitational force, we can put a tank in some upper places, and by using the drip irrigations we can give. Otherwise, farmers, you can see, using these type of these buckets, and they are taking the water. And suppose they have 2 hectare area, 1 hectare area, that is which is difficult. Otherwise, we can use the some alternate like sprinkler irrigation at least 5 days to survive these seedlings. This is the only tedious part when we are going for the transplanting. Otherwise, it is 100% successful, and there is no significant difference in the yield itself. So that may be very good, and cost can be reduced by utilizing the minimum seeds. If we see the seed rate, that is vary in different crop from 2.5 kg to 3.5 kg. And if we using the raise the nursery, then almost half of the seed rate we have to realize in these programs. So some problems has been observed during these cultivations. We are not going in depth all the technology where we have standardized there, but some problems which we have observed, and how we have mitigate that problems in there. Hot wind problems, that is major problem, in particularly in April and May month. And pollination problem also has been observed there. Irrigation problem, particularly these transplanted crops for few days. And nematode as a major problem, fruit fly and sucking pest. These are the some problems that has been observed during the farming of these riverbed cultivations. And for protection through wind during the summer, generally farmers are using these local materials by keeping a protected walls in the best side of the crops. This is the general. Here we can see in these pictures, even after 50 meters, they have different walls, because this is the locally available material. But nowadays it is very difficult even getting this type of local material also. So we have seen that this is the green nets. Here we can see this is the green nets. So that can be used for protecting from the hot winds, because when these vines are generally, they are here we can see in the different places, this is full of these soil, particularly sands. So this can be break the blow of suns also from there. So we can use this type of green net. This is not a set net, this is a green net, and that can be utilized 2 to 3 years. So it is economical and easy to handling also. So the farmers are, and wildlife wild these animals also can be checked by these if we have these type of fencing in the riverbed areas. So for management of pollination, that is another issue. So in the Yarra land, visit of honeybees are restricted due to dry weather and non-visibility of flowers, as crop is lying on the surface. Hence, sunflower sowing 100 to 150 plants per hectare is recommended for better pollination, and we did it in our area, and we got good positive result for that. Pollination and pollinizer visited in these frequently. And sunflower attracts pollinating agents, particularly honeybees, due to its large attractive color flowers, and it results overall increase in the yield of the yarrow land crops. So next major problem that we have realized is nematode. When we have started first year our experimentation, even we don't know that this type of nematode infestation we never seen in our life. This type here we can see this is the pumpkin roots. You can see how much knots are there. So the species which we have identified, that was the Melodagani incognita, and the loss due to this root knot nematode we have observed 80 to 90%, and farmers are totally unaware about this pest. So anyway, our these nematologists they visited these fields, we uprooted some plants, and when we see this type of infestation, then we think that what type of intervention we can do, how we can manage this nematode. So generally farmers are using flupiram. There is one chemical flupiram. They are drenching their crops 2 to 3 times. But we have some biological control. Our these nematologists they have suggested, and generally neem cake we already use this neem cake, and 50 gram neem cake per pits at the time of pit preparation, and then drenching of trichoderma hertzianum, that was 2 gram per liter. Then it has Phycomyces lilacinus 2 ml, and then Pseudomonas fluorescens 2 ml per liter. We mix all together, and that has been drenched 2 to 3 times at 3 days interval. We can see the results here. This is again we can see the treated plant, particularly T1. In the pumpkin plants, there is no root knot nematode. No symptoms we can see here. And similarly, in the non-treated plants, we can see in the these this is also pumpkin plants. We can see lot of knots is there in the galls are there in the roots. Here, when we have taken the observations by in bottle gourd, pumpkin, ridge gourd, and watermelon, muskmelon, these 5 crops we have used in these experiments, and in controlled conditions, we found that gall index was near about 3 to 5 in some maximum 3. And in controlled condition, in the biological control treatments, even not a single gall formation has been observed in any crop, So uh, this particular biological control that is working very well for the nematode management in the riverbed condition, and farmers are very happy. And but the availability of these type of biological agents, that is one of the major questions. And because we have that formulation in our institute, we will try to this time popularize with the farmers, and I think farmers will be benefited by this biological control or the nematode control. Here, when we seeing this type of infestation, then we can see how the crop damage is there. So fruit fly is also major infestation has been seen in there, and 50 to 100% loss has been observed in bitter gourd, sponge gourd, muskmelon, pumpkin, and pointed gourd. Use of Q-layer pheromone trap at there 25 trap per hectare, that was very effective, and that should be installed before flower initiation, and it should be changed. These traps should be changed because the heat is very high, and here we can see in a single bottle in 1 day how much trapping of these adult these fruit flies we have observed. And it is cent% management we can fruit fly can be managed by these traps, Q-layer pheromone traps, and it is very well effective. But we have to be cautious. Hybrid, we have to visit the fields. Suppose there is a very wind velocity sometimes very high, and we have to see our bottle and other things should be in a proper place, and it should be in a proper manner. That should be so we can control without any insecticide and pesticide. That is very important for riverbed cultivation. Some new emerging pest has been observed during cultivations in the last year and this year also. One is melon weevil. Here we can see the figure of this melon weevil. The fruits and shoots both are damaged. Particularly, this is infecting the sponge gourd. And other important insects which we have seen, that was white plum moth. It is damaging the leaf and buds of these bottle gourd. And other one is a bottle gourd merid bug. Here we can see the leaves as well as the fruits are infested by these bugs, and both stages of merid bugs. Nymphs as well as adults suck the sap and makes the produce unmarketable. Here we can see when they are sucking the saps, these bottle gourd fruits, we can see the black spots on there, and the fruits that is becoming unmarketable. So it is 100% loss can be observed by infestation of these bottle gourd merid bug. So last we can see the harvesting is coming when we are doing the cultivations. So edible tender stage, we have to identify the edible tender stage. Here we can see fruits are looking very good, but when we cut it, then we can see these seeds are almost red, and but the upper layer is looking very tender. Fruits is looking very tender. So these type of observations we have to be taken into considerations, and harvesting should be done at a proper time based on the distance of marketing. Generally, harvesting is done early in the morning or late in the evening. Mostly, what we have observed, and we found that is feasible. Farmer, these laborers, they are easily available in the morning hours, and they are working 1 or 2 hours because sun is sun is very scorchy in the river condition, and sand is becoming very hot immediately after rising of the sun. So generally, we can see the morning hours harvesting is good, and this is the transportation, how the farmers are transporting their produce. Here we can see they don't have any any cartoon or any bagging. Bottle guard, they are keeping itself directly in this is a small vehicle they have. But we have suggested that you can use the gunny bags here for your these transportation of the crops. So they have followed it, and we have recommended that a crate. They can use the crates based on the, and they have started the using the crates, and by the small vehicle, as well as the even they are using the boats for going the other side of the rivers. So here, even in each every field, we can see this type of small sets. They are creating the farmers, and they are keeping their produce itself. So having the produce in fresh, it is very difficult. Just after harvesting, they have to market it in the market. Otherwise, generally the freshness of these produce is not good. So, what are the productivity? How much yield we are realizing from the 1 hectare crop, particularly in riverbed? The productivity is a little bit higher, near about 5 to 10% higher as compared to normal conditions. Here we can see in the bottle guard we are realizing 380 quintals to 450 quintals. That is depend upon the crop and season. And in normal condition, we are getting the 350 to 400 quintal yield in case of bitter gourd. Similarly, in other crop also, near about 5 to 10% yield increase has been observed in the riverbed conditions. And particularly in pumpkin, why farmers are realizing the pumpkin, they are getting good yield, particularly in pumpkin. All the pumpkin is very much infested by the nematode. We have seen the maximum nematode infestation is pumpkin, but if we can manage the nematode infestation in pumpkin, then we are getting the good yields in case of pumpkin. Similarly, we have calculated the cost benefit ratio for riverbed farming. Net profit from cucurbitaceous crop that has been realized even in the 4 to 5 months. In each and every crop, we can see it is near about, in this guard, they have realized minimum net profit, that is 1,38,000, and highest was in bottle guard and pumpkin. In pumpkin, 2 lakhs near about, in bottle guard 3.3, because this year the bottle guard rate was good, and pumpkin rate was also 3 to. Here we can see the fluctuation of it. When first time that harvest has been taken, then rate was near about 30 rupees per kg, and at present near about rate is 3 rupees per kg. So the fluctuation of rate in the riverbed farming, we can see 3 to 30 rupees in case of pumpkin, 4 to 60 rupees in case of sponge guard, 3 to 25 rupees in case of bottle guard. These rates, that is every weeks, the rates is going to be changed. First weeks the rate was 60 rupees, then it was 50 rupees, 55. Accordingly, because of these high rates, farmers are getting more benefit in the riverbed cultivations. And here we can see the net profit, particularly in normal growing condition, it is varies from 1 lakh to near about 2.36 lakhs in different crops. So this is a very much profitable venture, particularly riverbed cultivations, if farmers are doing well and they're having the all facilities and good marketing venture. But development of value chain, it is very important, particularly for the riverbed cultivations. Otherwise, the produce are not realizing fresh when they are reaching to the markets. One another things we did in the middle DRL line. In upper DRL line, generally farmers are growing the tomato, but we introduced the tomato in the river wet conditions, and we have grafted this Kasiyaman variety in brinjal root stock, that was wild root stock. This is grafted brinjal, and this is ungrafted brinjal. Here we can see in cherry type tomato also we have put in these conditions. Here we can realize in grafted tomato number of fruits we have realized near about 89 fruits per plant, whereas it was 65 in non-grafted tomato. Similarly, the yield per plant was near about 6 kg in case of grafted and 4 kg in case of non-grafted plants. So there is a possibility, but here we can see we have to be irrigate this area because the root development is not so good in case of tomato. So here, therefore, the fruit quality is not good. Here we can see lot of scorching and mortality is a very early. But we have to be standardize the date of transplanting in these crops. This is the January transplanted crops. This years we have did in the pilot scale just as a pilot experiments. Here we can see some sprinkler irrigation we put, then these crops were survived in the river. And when we have seen the root development in these crops, this is the grafted plants. We can see the lot of side roots has been developed in these crops, and in case of non-grafted, only one taproot system has been developed, and that has been not so as good as in case of cucurbits. So we have to irrigate. Otherwise, we have to shift the transplanting date in tomato. Then again, we can get the more experiment or to more experiment how we can. But this is very profitable. We have got the number of fruits, number of size is a little bit lower as compared to normal growing conditions, but we can get the fruits. Whether it will be profitable as compared to normal conditions, so we have to be again have to calculate the cost benefit ratio, and then we can recommend it. And some training and awareness program also we have conducted. And farmers are being trained for new technology, skill development, and rural bed cultivations. Queries of the farmers were resolved, and farmers were advised to get the soil tested and not to use the unnecessary chemicals in there. This is the experiment in this is the training in the Prayagraj region, and this is the Varanasi region. Some farmers we even invite to our institutes after field visit, and they be given the some technological lecture also there. And what should be the future thrust, particularly for these cultivation? In spite of challenge, riverbed vegetable farming is an appropriate means of livelihood of many landless and land poor families by utilizing these wastelands. Urgent need for screening of the existing varieties and hybrids and advanced lines of cucurbitaceous vegetables under riverbed condition. That is the most important thing. So we have to do some research on that area, particularly varietal evaluation, conservation and registration of local land races, farmers varieties. Lot of land races the farmers have. We have to conserve it, and we have to register it with the PBFRA or NDPCR. Standardization and refinement of riverbed technology and generation of scientific information regarding varietal suitability and other input parameters and should be documented. Same should be documented because we have not had the good documents, particularly in riverbed. Development of storage and packaging, transportation and marketing facility for riverbed produce. Joint efforts of government and non-government organizations are needed for effective and sustainable scaling up of riverbed vegetable farming interventions. So based these may be some future thrust for that, and these are the some publications. One technology bulletin that has been published, and in Hindi also we have published one दियारा क्षेत्र में कद्दू वर्गीय सब्जियों की खेती. So farmers are benefiting with these two publications, and researchers are also benefiting by the technology bulletin. With this, I thanks to the foundations and particularly Professor uh, Ram Singh sir for giving me a chance to say a little bit about these riverbed farming, which is very old practice, but due to some interventions, we have no better opportunities in these crops. And I also thanks to viewers as well as Dr. Pritam Kalia sir for their well introduction during the during starting of these crops. I thanks each and everyone who joined this webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Dudhagar Pandey ji, taking us to the world of Dara land. Most neglected but most wanted one. I request Dr. Pitam Kalia ji to just highlight the presentation made by Dr. Sudhakar Pandey quickly.
Okay, sir, thank you. And I must thank in the beginning Dr. Sudhakar Pandey for giving detailed presentation on riverbed cucurbit cultivation, taking us right from the historical aspects. As we know, this is age-old technology, but it's required for the future. And from that perspective, he has done a tremendous job in giving each and every detail of the riverbed cultivation of cucurbitaceous vegetables, and also those who are not aware of, and those who become the new entrepreneurs for riverbed cultivation of these crops. They might have had good knowing of various aspects that have been detailed by Dr. Sudhakar Pandey, and also giving the what percentage of cucurbitaceous vegetables are being grown in riverbed cultivation, how much area is being utilized for that purpose, and telling people what does it mean and what is the classification of Diara land, lower Diaras, upper Diaras, and middle Diaras, which is very important, especially from the new entrepreneurs, because as he has detailed that it's the landless people or the uh, like people who keep on moving from here and there. So therefore, it's important for those who are now coming up with the non aspects of vegetable growing, where to take and how to take which crops to be taken up in the lower, middle, and upper Diaras. That part has been told in detail by Dr. Sudhakar Pandey, and also telling people that what is there in those riverbed areas, why they need to be exploited, why there is less investment on various aspects, whether it's fertilizer, manures, or water, all those things. That's why the landless people don't invest much, but they make profit and get livelihood for them. And those interesting points has been detailed in detail mentioned by Dr. Sudhakar Pandey, as because I know that he has been working quite a lot in these areas for the last for quite some time, and where he has been putting his pictures on Facebook, and that's why he has been able to give details of each and every aspects, and also linking the old technologies, uh, what are the problems being faced and what is new should be done, and also telling where are the areas, major rivers where there is a possibility where it has not been taken, and also linking it with the recent government program where the natural farming is being taken up on priority by the government, and government has itself mentioned that the Ganga rivers and various river beds need to be exploited for that purpose, and there is a lot of opportunity in respect to, especially to the central India, North Indian plains, especially Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, uh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and of course in Himachal Pradesh also in the lower hills there is a Swan river which comes from the hills, and there is a lot of cultivation, especially during between Hoshiarpur and Una, especially in Himachal Pradesh. A lot of riverbed cultivation there, and the Una market always keep on flooded with the early vegetable cultivation, especially the cucurbits, and that we have seen. And because that is a stray, and the not organized or improved seeds are being used by these farmers, and the progress that Dr. Uh, Sudhakar has shown that they are now testing the varieties in these areas, which will come up with the improved varieties, and seed availability, as he has mentioned that private sector is not making available, but I see there is a lot of opportunity for the public sector to enhance their capability, and especially for IIVR, which is the seat of vegetables, to enhance vegetable seed production, especially for cucurbits, and to go in with the government perspective to make the seeds available right in the November, December. I think December is the right time where for planting in river beds, so that you get early harvesting during the middle of as the climate change there, this season is shifting earlier. So by the middle of February, we get early produce, which is sold at quite high premium that we find, and the early production is especially more important, which gives a higher price to the farmers, and consumers get off-season produce, and also prolonged availability of various cucurbitaceous vegetables right from beginning of spring up to middle of summer or kharif season. We get lot of as the nutritional factors also have been highlighted, which are normally not highlighted. So we are aware that a lot of vitamin, especially minerals, are quite a lot, and we find that why these vegetables, summer vegetables, are especially good for plain areas, because a lot of heat and there is a lot of water in these crops, and when we cook them, water comes from inside, which is very nutritious and full of all those nutrition which Dr. Pandey has mentioned, and gives us a lot of health, as has is being mentioned, especially for bitter gourd and bottle gourd, which are special crops. As for bitter gourd is called as anti-diabetic crop because of momodicin, saponin, and cherentin compound that is rich in, and the other various benefits of which he has covered, as I have also detailed, that the water is a major constraint and it's coming up. And then we are trying to exploit the groundwater that these long taproot cucurbitaceous vegetables um, uh, go deep in search of water and provide good profit to the landless farmers. And nine crops, especially Dr. Pandey has mentioned, which are very preferential and uh, giving good yield to the farmers, are important, highlighting the nutritional factors of these different cucurbitaceous vegetables, and also the other properties, like they are antioxidant and anti-microbial, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory. These crops are, and the nutritional value, apart from the other, especially bottle gourd and bitter gourd in minerals, proteins, vitamin C that he has highlighted, and suitable varieties for riverbed cultivation that he has mentioned, that they have come up uh, through their research, and also the production uh, technology, especially from this uh, digging of pits and germination of seeds and then planting of seeds. Especially, we know that the seeds, a lot of seed wastage used to be there. So through the research program that Dr. Pandey has mentioned, it's a good aspect that if used sprouted seeds, we get the 100% success in raising the crops rather than wasting a lot of seed. Not to go for even two seeds, even raised or sprouted seeds or seeding. When we plant, then it's just one seed we go for, because in these crops, especially, the hard seed problem is there. So if we can grow sprouted seeds, then we go for the short seedling planting, and there is no wastage from that point of view. And the system of cultivation pits and trench, as he has mentioned, and also highlighted that the trench is problematic because the rivers may change their streams, and from that point of view, the pit system is better, and also the lifting of water from for the middle and the upper part through solar system, and then using the micro irrigation system would be beneficial. So that's a good that we need a lot of research to go into the different aspects, so as to exploit these areas to maximum possible extent, and also that the harvested produce can be a nutrition requirement, as Dr. Pandey has mentioned. Based on such, they have conducted. He has mentioned that what proportion of FIM and the fast sports where it's required based on the soil health card, we can manage those system, and the mechanization of pit digging, which is because labor is becoming scarce, and it's good that we are making mechanization system which is quick, less investive, and it's good. from that point of view. And the other important aspects which he has given emphasis upon is that the performance of different cucurbits and different systems, and the major issues with respect to transplanted crops, that you need to initially irrigate 2 to 3 times for that solar power lifting system, and micro irrigation can be employed for saving water in future. And seed rate, which is also very important, that how we can economize seed. So the old seed rate potential 4 to 5 kg or 3 to 2 to 3 kg, if we go for seedling in this plug trays, is 100% success of seed. So then seed rate can be brought down. So cost of invested on seed will also be economized that way. And the problems from wind, especially during winter, it may be the cold wind, and as the season passes, it may be hot wind. So wind breaks, whether green shade net or the secunda, if it's available, can be put to use as it was in the past. It's there that it can be employed. And the pollination problem, because in these crops these are monoecious or dioecious, or so therefore pollination is important. And although he has already mentioned what steps we can take, make planting of sunflower to attract more bees. Also, if we have more crops, we can put these beehives also in between, where we can highlight these that this is bitter gourd honey coming out of that, or bottle gourd honey, which people will be looking forward for. So that will be additional income given to the farmers, and fruit setting will be better. And from the other point of view, that nematode problem has been highlighted. It's coming up in a big way. So for that also, marigold gold planting also can be done in between. That's one aspect which is important for attracting various other insects also, and taking care of. And also the biological system which he has highlighted. But for that purpose, we need a lot of inputs availability in those areas, so that people can make use of. And from fruit, from point of view, which is a major problem in cucurbitaceous vegetables, so the pheromone trap is very effective and important. And of course, its availability again would be an issue that needs to be made available timely in the production areas, so that it can help in growing the crop successfully. And the new insect pests which are coming up, whether they can be managed through organic system using biopesticides. Research can be done, as their group is already working. They can look into that, which biopesticides, as we have to proceed with natural farming and organic farming system. So that aspect can be taken into consideration. And the harvesting point, which is very important, especially in these crops, because if the seed inside start maturing, it loses its value and flavor also. And I personally feel that early harvesting of fruit, as people feel that if you delay harvesting, the fruit size will be more, but then the fruiting will be less, because you are initial fruit setting trying to delay, then the new fruit set will not take place. So the early harvesting will have more fruit set, more yield, and the consumer's preference for the small fruits would be very much high, because they are just like makhan. When we cook them, the small fruit, and eat them, it's beautiful. So from that point of view, it has to be told to the people. And the transportation and marketing factors which he has highlighted, which is very important, that in today's world we need to make use of cartons, or the film wrapping, which is now coming up from very places. It's important to put the fruits in the market in a better perspective, so that consumers get attracted to it. And due to all these aspects that he has mentioned, in the riverbed cultivation, the productivity has increased compared to the normal one. Profit has also gone almost 1.5 times higher compared to the normal one. And availability has been enhanced, and they are exploring other crops like tomatoes, which could be useful. But a lot of research needs to go into this system, and the training program they are conducting to make the people aware. It's important that how they can go in a scientific wake cultivation of these crops, and the future thrust which he has highlighted, bringing publication also for awareness, screening of new improved varieties of uh, different crops is important, and that will be very much attractive. And technology, production technology further need to be improvised in these areas, so that production and availability can be further enhanced. And the because from January onward, as the temperature would be rising, if you have to, in search of market, you have to delay transportation of the produce. Then in production area itself, there must be zero energy cool chamber, so that you can delay transportation by a week or so. That would be beneficial. So with that, I think we have had extraordinary talk today into the futuristic type of thing, where all natural things and win-win situation from vegetable scientist especially point of view, exploring new areas which was there in olden times, but it's wanted in the newer times. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kalia. The question can be put up on the screen. Uh, this is from Dr. Surendra Baniwal, a world-renowned pathologist at now Pantnagar, and we were my colleague. Very relevant topic, as more importance now is being given to riverbed agriculture. This is a comment. So, congratulations, Dr. Pandey. Then, Tanmay Kole sir. A very informative presentation. This can be used to boost export to the Gulf countries. Very good. Okay, that's also there. Madam, put up the question.
Is it cost?
Question. The first question, labor costs same or different, perhaps or different in common vegetable production. Dr. Pandey, would you like to comment on the labor cost in the Dara land cultivation and other type of vegetable cultivation?
Labor cost in
In
Dara
brief,
land,
in
yeah,
brief.
particularly labor cost is very high when we are starting the cultivation in riverbed condition, particularly for digging the pits only. Otherwise, there is no weed infestation, so there is no labor is required for weed management. So almost the labor cost is same as in normal condition, as well as if we calculate as a whole. So there is no worry about labor cost in the river.
Okay, okay, okay. Next question, madam, if there is any. Is there any question, madam? Say yes or no. Hello. I think says.
Sir, we are done. These were the questions and the comments that you have already read.
Acha, that's all. Okay. Thank
Yes.
you, ma'am. So, friends, we had very exhaustive, informative, and unusual presentation. Unusual means something which is not having the attention of scientists, government, and even public. It requires attention, and very important one, because the natural farming which we all are talking about, including the government, that is the potential area. And the interesting thing is that we have landless farmer doing farming and having their livelihood, and a lot of scope for that. Another thing, Dr. Pandey made efforts to study the problems and to answer of some of a very systematic study is required, and in nutshell we have to modernize this Dara land or this riverbed cultivation. Modernization, a lot of scope is there in that, and but we have to keep it natural farming uh, intact in that. Under natural farming we can do a lot. We are spreading the vines on the sand, and the sand is getting heated during say midday. So you can think of the other way we are having it. We can train the vines also, and have the some plastic net or some sort of a net which doesn't give the heat and can withstand the wind, etc., and all sort of things. You can train them vertically also, so that you can have some more plant population there. And the important thing, where there is a lot of scope for employment and putting the modern technology, is the use of seedlings instead of seed. I don't want to enumerate what all Dr. Pandey and Dr. Kalia has said. The seedling transplanting will revolutionize this your dairy land farming. Both it will take care of your diseases, soil-borne diseases, by having the grafted seedlings, and the other one reducing the cost of that, pushing the your newly bred varieties or high yielding varieties or specific varieties to meet the specific requirement of a particular region. All sort of things can be done, and seedlings can wait. I think for you can delay the transplanting day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, like that. Another thing which I want to highlight is requires mechanization. Mechanization is a must for that, and concerted efforts need to be made. And another thing which Dr. Pandey has highlighted, just making the solar power and use of the groundwater there for irrigation, etc. Even in between, if there is a need of water, and if you have got a solar panel, solar power, the water table in their land by and large is very high, is not deep. So you can use the solar power. Even by irrigation, you can perhaps improve the yield. Dr. Pandey is the right person to judge it. I'm only talking out of the common sense and the experience on cucurbits in cold desert, where without watering we can't raise the cucurbits. And a lot of potential, the pumpkin, which he has put number one. And pumpkin, the self of pumpkin at quite high. So it's a good one. So overall, I find only the positive, and profitable point in his talk, and requires those who are listening and those who are on the ham of affairs or promoting the vegetable um, in the country, uh, whether ex-ministry, vice ministry, or wherever, I think this aspect is to be pushed and made to be specialized, taking advantage of the work done at IIVR under the leadership of Dr. Sudhakar Pandey. So with these words, once again, I profusely thank Dr. Sudhakar Pandey for I think extraordinary contribution to the Dara land, which is much more needed, and I think that those landless farmers will be, I think, fan of yours and will be very much obliged with that. But this aspect, I think we vegetable scientists or horticulturist or agriculturist or whosoever is there on the helm of affairs should do the due importance to their land and production of vegetables, particularly um, the natural farming, the organic produce, and pesticide-free produce, and everything positive there in that. So thank you very much, friends. We meet next on the next Tuesday with this urban fruit production for health and happiness, where the co-organizer will be the speaker, Dr. Shailendra Rajan. We meet on that. Till that, I think good night. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Good
Thank
night.
you, sir.
Meet again. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Good night,
Thank
sir.
you.
Bye.